believe that the blood of us is strong within the spirit because we are spiritual beings. And I believe that the trauma is in the DNA. And it'll pass on, and even though that we don't know it, but we can feel certain things and we don't know why. So scientists is just finding this out because we are people that is built different. We are spiritual people, you know, and we go through stuff that, like, how did I survive gas being thrown on me and I was shot on fire, literally, and I'm still here.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
And I believe it's a spiritual thing connected within our DNA for survival. I believe that we was built like this on purpose. Wow.
So my name is Alicia Diggs, and I've contributed in so many ways, like telling my story, listening to other community members, working within research, doing a lot of advocating and activism, and just being a support to the community. There's absolutely a stigma in society as far as how I feel. It doesn't matter one way or another because I'm wide open. I also feel like I had to make a decision as a person living with HIV if I was going to allow stigma to guide my life. And I prefer not to have internalized stigma. So because of my lack of internalized stigma, I'm able to share my story, share who I am, and just be a regular person. I've always gotten screenings, always. I was sexually active at an early age, and it was important for me to get screened for everything. I loved a person who wasn't comfortable with themselves to be able to be honest with me. And as a result of that, I had a choice. I could have been revengeful. I could have stayed in a dark space, but I decided to fight for myself and to also fight for others. I absolutely got so much stronger, built so much more resilience. I have a voice. I always knew I had a voice, but I didn't use it. And as a result of this and seeing the inequalities and the stigma caused me to use my voice, and then finding safe spaces that allowed me to be who I am. So I was able to really reach inside and hear what I sound like, standing up for myself as well as others. So after my diagnosis, I am living my best life now. I am fabulously me. Before my diagnosis, and even when I think about if I was never diagnosed, how would my life be? And now I'm this completely free butterfly, if you will, transformed into something beautiful I've always been, but even more so. So what support from the community looks like is a safe space where people can come in as they are and know that they're not going to be shunned because of either the way that they look, the way that they come in, or how they live their life. And knowing that somebody can come into a space and just be themselves and open up and be transparent, that is what community needs. That is what women of color need. That is what everyone needs. And if those spaces are available, I feel like we can really thrive in our lives. So absolutely educating our younger Black women is top of the line. because you have me now considered the quote unquote auntie or mother in the movement. And I've learned from so many from years ago to help me get where I am today. And then because times have changed, the diagnoses are still happening, women are still being impacted, they need support, they need, as I like to call, wind beneath their wings. So our younger women need us to be the teachers to help them along the way to thrive. Well, we can continue to spread the word by talking. We don't talk about a whole lot of these issues. And I noticed in the South that conversations are not had about HIV, about sex education, about so many things that are impacting us as Black and brown people. We have to just talk about it and be open to talk about it, have an open mind, and be open to people's differences. So now, being 22 years living as a woman with HIV, saying 22, I'm over legal age now. Over legal age in HIV. And I do feel like not just, for the years, but also the wisdom I have gained and what I've learned from those who came before me, what I've learned from those whose shoulders I stand on, what I've learned from those who are now my ancestors. I take that information and I share it with those who are new in this work, or who just did not have the support that I had. So because I'm able to give those tools away that were given to me, it makes me feel like I'm a mother, sharing what I learned from grandma, passing it on.
My name is Miss Stacy Jennings-Singor. I got Singor from my husband. I met him almost 3 years ago. I was diagnosed with HIV at the age of 20, which was devastating for me. I had a 3-year-old son, and I had to readjust my life. I had to readjust everything about me, and for a long time I kept silent. So after about 3 or 4 years, I became open with my status. I was filmed on the news, and I walked outside, after being afraid of walking outside, and I went into the local community place where they provided housing. And the lady jumps up out of her chair, she hugs me. And from that moment on, 3 to 4 years into my diagnosis, I started doing the work. Because I had to realize that I am not alone, that I had to develop the ability to be free, and I had to find that freedom that was embedded deep within me, deep within my soul. And that's how I just came out, and I had to face the world at an abrupt moment, but that's who I am today, and that's how I see my life each and every day. As I just float through life, and every day is not a good day, but every day is a blessed day and a prosperous day that we can come closer and closer to ending the epidemic of HIV. And so I speak up and I speak out no matter where I go, and I speak up and speak out and then receive that healing through spoken word, because I'm a spoken word artist. And so everywhere I go, I do poetic summations. Everywhere I go, I introduce myself as a public speaker, as a spoken word artist. And I embrace persons through my lived experiences. So October the 17th, I will celebrate my 28th HIV birthday. I tell people I have 2 birthdays, June 16th and October 17th. So I will be celebrating 28 years. And that's a big milestone for me, because I've came a mighty long way to get to where I am today. And through Seeds of Healing, which is another platform for women like me, and to make me feel that I am not alone in this fight, that there are others out there that love me, there are others out there that care for me, there are others out there that embrace me closely, physically and emotionally, every single time I show up in a space. So when I walk in the room, I turn heads, but when I speak in the room, doggone it, I try to turn hearts. They consider HIV a crime, and HIV is not a crime. I am not a criminal. And so stigma hit home for me 9 years ago. And just excuse me for my emotional state of mind when I speak about this. But 9 years ago, I was told that you don't need to have any more children. you need to get your insides cut out. And this was told to me by a doctor. And so I found that I was pregnant about 6 months later, after being told you don't need to have any more children. And it was a happy, happy moment for me. And everything was going good. I found out I was having a baby boy. 8 months pregnant, he was already at 3 pounds and 3 ounces. So he was viable enough to be able to be born and be okay. And so they delivered my son by cesarean. When they delivered him, he was pale. And they said, "Ma'am, your son is not all right." He had lost 98% of his blood due to fetal distress. They knew that he was bleeding in vitro internally, and they didn't do anything about it, as if though they were waiting on him to die. And so they delivered my son. They took him away without telling me anything, and they cut, double tied, and burned my tubes to make sure I never would give birth again. And that was devastating for me. That was the most traumatic form of stigma I had ever experienced in my life. Not only did they take my son's life, they took away my ability to ever have children again. So that was so stigmatizing, and I fight today because of my son, KJ. As I was telling my son's story, because it's not only my story, it's his story, I can feel his presence and hear his voice and say, "Mama, you got to keep telling your story." I am stronger than ever before. I'm stronger than I will ever be, because I am one with God and He is forever one with me. So my spirituality goes deep, my spirituality goes wide, and my spirituality provides me the strength and the peace that I need to stand and to stand tall and to stand on the shoulders of giants like Bonetta Spratley and like Dr. Wallace and like those many persons that are walking in this race and running in this race with me. These ladies that are here at this retreat, the Seeds of Healing retreat this weekend. I have become stronger. I have, and I have become a person of hope, peace, and grace. And I share that hope, peace, and grace with everyone I come in contact with. Heck yeah, I'm already living my best life. I'm free. I'm free, I'm grateful, and I'm hopeful for every single thing. Because as I said before, had it not been my diagnosis of HIV, I wouldn't be in this room today. I wouldn't be in front of you telling my story of resilience, my story of hope, my story of strength. As I stand on the shoulders of giants, as I stand tall and free, as I walk hand in hand with those that are willing to support me and to love on me unconditionally, as I love on myself every single day in every single way. Having a husband that is not HIV positive. Having a husband that gives me all the support that I need after being told you would never date again. After being told you would never have anything again. But because of my diagnosis, I am here with you all today. And that gives me all the happiness and the hope that I need. My cup, it runneth over. My strength, it overflows. I have a poem, and it's called Red Reminds Me. And I don't know it by heart, but I wrote this poem when my son's life was taken. And I could not stand to wear red, because red was associated with HIV. And when I got my diagnosis, all I would see is this red ribbon. And I'm like, this red ribbon, what does this mean? I would not wear red. I couldn't stand seeing red. And I wrote this poem, and it's called Red Reminds Me. Red reminds me of 27 years ago, October 17, 1995, after receiving a devastating diagnosis of HIV, of wanting to end my life, of hating I was me. Red reminds me of a whole lot of pain. It reminds me of agony of a life now slain. Red reminded me to give up hope. Red broke me down and took away my ability to cope. Red reminded me to cover my face in shame, to turn and walk away, to keep others from slandering my name. Red reminded me to turn and walk away, to waddle in my misery for yet another day. But now red reminds me that I must hold on strong, to bring down stigma in order to get along. Red now reminds me to hope, trust, and have faith, that I must hold on peacefully through each and every day. Red reminds me that everything is going to be all right, that I must not lose focus, that I must hold on with all of my might. Red reminds me that even though stigma robbed me of my son, KJ, red reminds me to hold on anyway. Red reminds me, red reminds me, red reminds me.
My name is Bonetta Spradley, and self-care and self-love to me kind of go hand in hand. If you have no self-love for yourself, how can you then promote self-care? And so for me, it's huge because there are a lot of things that go on in life that you should put yourself first. I get up in the morning. First, I'll probably try to center myself, so I'll sit there. I have a history of, passing out and stuff, so I have to make sure that I'm grounded before, I just jump up. But I'll normally get my cell phone to see if I have any important emails, or I have daughters, so don't know what happens overnight, so I'll check my my cell phone to see if I have any texts, and then I'll proceed to the bathroom and brush my teeth and wash my face, and then I'll come back and look at my emails. I try not to go hard on myself. Like, life throws us a lot of curveballs, and it's challenging in life altogether. So I try not to, be too hard on myself, be forgiving, and give myself a second chance, or many chances throughout the day. Oh, it makes me feel good to know that I'm going out looking fresh and clean, and hopefully trying to bring back some of the youthfulness of my younger days. So it just makes me feel good overall. I had both of my children in the 90s, where there was no awareness, there was no U equals U, there was, which is undetectable equals untransmittable. Like, we didn't have any knowledge of that. The medications were kind of, iffy. Like, we didn't have the knowledge that we have now. And so some people would say I just took a risk, but I like to say that I used my faith, because prayer was a huge part of, and I was married at the time, so it was a huge part of me and my husband's decision to, do it the natural way and have children. And so not only did I risk or take a chance with having children, I also took a chance with my husband being vulnerable, because he was not HIV positive and still is not. And so, I had the support of my parents and my husband, and that was it. And after the first daughter, who is not HIV positive, it was a lot easier for my second daughter. So my first daughter was born in 96, and then the second in 99. Neither one of them are HIV positive, and neither is my first husband. One thing that has helped me to be so resilient is all of the negative things that you may hear other people say, whether it's because of ignorance or because they've been hurt. I've said those things about myself to myself. So I was the first one that I had to kind of coax and bring out of that negative space. You know, I had to heal myself and tell myself I wasn't any of those negative things. And so that kind of helps me when I am confronted with the naysayers and stuff, like, because I've already felt that way about myself. And I know that that's not who I am today. And I have found a space in HIV where I know that I've helped so many people amongst myself and my family members. And there's so many great things that came out of my diagnosis. So, yeah, spirituality is the foundation of me being who I am today and being able to rise out of those ashes and that dark space that I was in, and it has afforded me to be able to speak to other people and to empower them, and to, because that's one of my prize spaces. Like, HIV has a large portion of areas that you can work from, but I like being on the front lines and letting people know that there is life after an HIV diagnosis.
On September the 29th, 2023, we all arrived. The atmosphere was naturally glorious. I saw beauty in all of the ladies' eyes. We were happy to see each other. The love we shared was true. There is nothing like a sister that you know will see you through. So please take care of me like I'm here to take care of you. Let's all come together as a unit because we have so much work to do. Good morning, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here. Came greetings from Miss Skiba. So now lend me your listening ear. I want you to be comfortable, center your hearts and minds, become of yourselves as we come together to intertwine. Focus on the stories that you carry. Focus on the values and the strengths that you hold. Share your story of safety and bravery. Share the stories that need to be told. We must show up to be accepted. We must show up in our truths. We must move forward with our stories. What might be the beginning of our stories doesn't have to be the end. We must show up in survival mode. These sensations that come out and depend on the things that often surround us, the things that keep us and make us whole, the things that give us hope, that heal our living souls. Adverse cultural experiences show up every day. It's those adverse community experiences that show up in every way. Things like poverty and violence, things like economic instability, things such as divorce and domestic violence, those things that keep us from living free. Always remember, this is for us and by us. Remember, as I give back to you, a piece of seeds of healing that will forever get us through.
Groups who have been historically marginalized and oppressed, I do know that we are drawing from a strength to get through the things that we have gotten through. That historical resilience is right alongside the trauma. Like, again, that's not the end of the story.
Right.
That is not the story that we are authoring together. We are authoring a story of resilience. You all are living proof of that. I am living proof of that. And we'll continue, but we continue together.
Silly faces or something?
All right.
Nice. Can we ask them to take one with you in here with us, Keisha? Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Anybody got a camera? Oh, she got it. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. They work well together. Yes.
Well, just let it keep rolling for a second.